To my esteemed colleague from the 18th Assembly District. We served on the Summer Study Committee on Bail. And even though we didn't agree on a lot, we did pass some things out so it could get to a committee and get heard. One of the things that was agreed on by both Judge Duchow and Judge White, who is the Milwaukee County Circuit Court Justice, pretrial detention doesn't work. It's basically a mini trial before your trial. So the victim has to come in and testify, which could be traumatizing for a victim of violent crime. You have to have a whole little mini hearing. You have to have all your evidence. You have to have your DNA back. We don't have the physical space to do it, nor do we have the finances to do it. So it's totally unworkable. And that's why it's been in law since 1981, and no one has ever used it once. To the representative from the 3rd, he talked about how you set bail based on what the victim can pay, and the judge should take that into account. I'm going to assume that Alec Baldwin would be getting a much higher bail than possibly Darrell Brooks would be getting. And if the judge doesn't look at their financial history and just gives everybody a low bail, then he's not doing his job, or her either. But having money doesn't mean you get out. There are people with a lot of money that have had very, very high bail. And I know the representative from the 18th gave many examples of some wealthy people that got out on bail.
All comments will be made to the chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. I could sit and give lots of comments here, too, on people who got out on very low bail that did not have good financial resources. So that's going to happen on both sides. We talk about violent crime. This is not for shoplifting. This is not for stealing a car, but it is for carjacking. Violent crime is defined in statute in 3 different places. We will redefine that before the ballot on April 4th. We will also define serious harm. Currently, what this stands for is serious bodily harm, which means murder or threat of murder. Well, I think child molestation is a serious harm, Mr. Speaker. And I think rape is a serious violent crime. And all of those should be taken into account when we're describing what a violent crime is. This is a common sense piece of legislation that one of our colleagues in the past, a retired judge, I'm sure many of you know him, who sat over in that corner, got up and said, we don't need this because a lot of judges are already doing it. And my response to him was, Mr. Speaker, that a judge takes an oath, and their oath is to follow the Constitution. So if they are currently, right now, looking at their past criminal history, they are violating their oath. And I think our judges ought to be following their oath, as I expect everybody in here to do the same. So this is a common sense procedure that I'm going to tell you, everybody I've talked to since 2017, wherever I've been, and I bring this up, and I say, I've got something really working on, I think this is a great thing for us, they look at me like I'm crazy. You mean you don't already do this? You don't look at their past criminal history? You don't look at how dangerous they are to society? And this is not their history. This is their convictions. And we talk about the crime in Milwaukee. I'm out there in Waukesha County. 40% of our arrests are people from Milwaukee. The ADA that was testified for us last week, he is working on a human trafficking case with a gentleman from Milwaukee in Waukesha County trafficking our kids. So this is violent offenses. Again, not shoplifting. This is to try to keep the people safe in our community. The number one job we have as elected officials is safety. So this is a very common sense change. We want the judges to have all the information, all the facts. They're going to look back at their past criminal convictions. They're going to consider the dangers of the community, and then they're going to set their bail. And if they want to set it for $10, they can do it. If they want to set it for $10 million, we are not handcuffing our judges. They still have all the discretion at their disposal that they want. What we want to do is keep people safe. And this is a common sense change to the Constitution that I hope everybody, especially all of you in Milwaukee, are going to get on board, because we've got a problem, we've got to fix it, and I hope this is going to help us fix it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.